Dana, how do you bounce back from Saturday night?
Better do it quick. Got a hot Temple team coming. Can't overlook this one now. I'm telling you, it's a conference game, but they pretty much ended South Florida's regime last week. These guys are, you look at they're 3-6, but here's what you got to guard, guard up on. Just incredibly competitive. Stan Drayton's a good football coach. Been around for a long time. I hadn't dug into their staff prior to yesterday and today. He's done a really good job of hiring a staff. They're very well coached. They play their tail off. I got a lot of respect for Everett Withers, who's been around for a long time. That's his chief of staff, so he helped put this staff together, which has got his print on it. Offensively, defensively, he's a good defensive-minded coach, but they've hired a really good staff. Had some crossovers, so I've watched their offense several times. Statistically, they're not great, but they're improving every single week. The Warner kid, the quarterback, I played against his dad in high school, by the way, so, kind of communicated with him a little bit. The kid's a good player. Overachiever, not very big, but has improved each week. He's pretty good now, and you just watch their improvement each and every week to the point where last week, they had 650 yards against South Florida. We just played that same South Florida team and didn't do that, so he doesn't get sacked. They're first in the nation in sacks allowed, and for a freshman quarterback, that's unheard of. He gets the ball out now. They've improved up front, which their O-line coach was there with Rule, and then went to Georgia Tech with Collins. Now he's back. This dude's a really good football coach. The coordinator's an NFL guy, so they know how to scheme, and we better be ready. Defensively, DJ Elliott's been around for a long time, but he's got a lot of Coach Withers guys in there, and they're good on defense. Statistically, they're really good on defense. They sack the quarterback a lot. This is kind of a challenge. We got to protect, which I do think we protected really good last week. We got to protect because they get to the quarterback. They're great on third down. They get you behind the change with being a top 2 or 3 team in the country in TFLs. Their personnel is good. They've got a lot of transfers coming in. And they're getting better each and every week. So, we have no right to to disrespect anybody in college football. But this is one that's going to be tricky because, one, we got to bounce back, but two, they're pretty dang good and they're getting better. So they got my attention, and I will make sure that they get our players' attention as well.
Dana, now that you've had a day and a half, I don't know how much going back there was to look at Saturday's film, but did you get anything from it in terms of what you need to do moving forward defensively?
Yeah, the key is moving forward. They played well. I mean, that's the single greatest quarterback performance I've seen in a long time. Okay, we're the second team to score 63 points and lose. I was a part of the first one, all right, which when, we scored 70 and Baylor scored 63. There's not a good side to be on, okay? So, it's like I think Coach Sampson, I talked to him yesterday and, wish them luck tonight. Wish I could go. I'll be a little busy. He's like, it's like having an inter-squad scrimmage where one team kicks the crap out of the other team and you don't know if you should be happy or you should be mad. It's just a bad place to be in. I've been on both sides. It ain't a good, give them credit, okay? Our guys competed. If I was looking at a defense that, and my hunch was right, I said this in the postgame, if I was looking at defense where it was loafs and not playing with effort, not competing, we'd have a real problem. Okay, it wasn't that. Okay, did we bust some coverages? Yes. Did we not get off blocks and tackle good? Yep, that was true. Was our 4-minute defense pitiful? Yes. Did they make play after play? Yes, they made a ton of plays. I mean, Mordecai should be the national player of the week. I mean, obviously, but they made every catch. They made every contested catch. They made one-handed catches. They got good players. Those receivers are legit. You know, Rice was as good as advertised. You know, 10 was the Houston kid. Godfrey was a good player. 82, that tight end, is a problem. You know, the other tight end was good. Their O-line's got some NFL guys. It's a good offense. So you got to give them credit. We got to fix some things. You know, we're running out of guys, but it doesn't matter. You just got to, whoever has to go in there and play has to go in there and play. We lost 3 more starters in that game. You know, they didn't play. So, I mean, nobody wants to hear that, but, you know, we gotta come up with some stops. You know, their defense did. You know, as good as we played on offense, they came up with some stops. You know, they got a couple of picks, and, you know, we gained a possession on the onside kick, which would have got it within 1, but at the end of the day, we got to get some stops, and we did.
Daniel, from your players' perspective, how have you seen them react the last few days after Saturday's game?
Well, I'll find out tomorrow morning. You know, we obviously came in and got the game over yesterday. This is the time of the year where I take Sunday practices off them because they're tired, they're sore, they're beat up. It's game 9. You know, our injuries are what our injuries are, but even offensively, we played very hard and we got beat up, and so they're tired. You know, watched the video, said what we had to say, coached them up, and we'll go back to work tomorrow morning.
You know, were there any of the injuries season-ending in the game?
No.
Okay. And what do you do about?
They were game-ending. Right, so Jace went out. Jace is good. We'll have to see on him, a couple concussions and stuff, so 3 starters didn't play the majority of the game. Season ending, no. Hopefully not.
What about missed tackles? There seem to be quite a few, and is that just you're playing a lot of second-team guys or technique things?
I think it's probably both. We have a high standard for some of our players that have been playing around here for a long time that didn't play like they're capable of playing. And that's just the standard that you get put when we see you play like that, okay? So, yeah, there was some technique stuff. There was some uncharacteristic stuff. I think that happens once you start, like, giving up some plays and giving up some touchdowns again and again and again. Confidence starts taking a hit, which leads to poor technique, overthinking things. You know, and then there's guys in there playing that, you know, would probably rather have some other guys in there playing, but you can't do anything about that. You got to play who's available, and that I'm not using that as an excuse, but it kind of wears on you at some point, you know, to the point to where it is what it is. So, you know, whatever we got to do to win the game. The one thing I was very proud of our team, we continued to fight. I mean, we didn't stop. We should have got 2 onside kicks, and we should have went down and scored, which would have been very easy to cut it to 77-70. So who knows what would have happened if we would have had another onside kick. All right, we kept fighting. You know, I called them up in the 4th quarter, and we were down 14, which we had been there before. And we came back and we won some of those games. So our kids believed that we could win them, and they played. You know, there's been plenty of times this year where offense has been struggling and defense has been playing their tail off. So what good teams do, and I still think we're a good team. You know, we're not a great team, but we're a good team. And what good teams do is when one side is struggling, the other side picks it up. And that's happened this year. You know, obviously in this past game, defense was struggling, and offense picked it up and kept us into the game where we kind of had a little bit of a shot. So,
Dana, on when the other quarterback gets 9, everything else gets touchdowns, everything else gets overshadowed with Clayton. I mean, Clayton had a career day with 500 plus, 7 touchdowns. You've sort of seen this from him during this stretch, and he probably would be the conference player of the week again if it wasn't for the other guy. Is it just? I know it's tough for him to be in that situation where you lose when he does so well, but is that a good sign at what you're seeing from him, or it's just continued like that?
Yeah, it's a good sign for our offense to keep rolling, keep it going, keep it moving forward. We're not. We're. I wish we would have seen it a little bit more earlier, but it's been constant improvement offensively. Everybody wanted to see, more points and more passing yards and more touchdowns. Well, you got that, but Clayton wanted that one pretty bad. He feels bad for a couple of the picks that he threw. That's who he is. As good as he plays, he's always going to look in the mirror and say, I could have done this or I could have done that. Heck, he rushed for 130 yards or whatever it was, too. That first one was impressive. It shows his athleticism. I mean, SMU can run, and they couldn't catch him. So he kept things alive and got us some first downs and some designed run game as well. He's a competitor and wants to win, and so we're gonna have to lean on like him and Donnie and some of these guys where we gotta get back out there and practice, and we gotta get out there and prepare. This game is gonna be hard. Temple's coming in improved. They're coming in well coached. They're coming in with some confidence. I think this thing's gonna be easy or crazy, so we need guys to respond quick. I don't think that's who we are defensively. I don't care who's out there playing, and our guys don't think that either. So we need to get out there and play. We need to pressure this quarterback. He's young. We need to force him into mistakes. We've been talking about Sac Ave for a long time. We got to get there. And then the flip side of that is these guys lead the conference in sacks, and so we're going to have to protect Tune. And we're going to have to give them some time like we did against SMU. And hopefully our receivers continue to improve as well and get open and make a bunch of plays downfield.
Dana, on the topic of receivers, Matt Golden was able to come back, and it looked like he was able to slide back in. What did you see from his performance against SMU this past Saturday?
Yeah, good to have him back. He's a starter, so it shows you what happens when you get starters back. They make plays, and the production looks better. So, he's a good player. He's young. Hadn't played in the last couple of weeks. We're better with him out there, and so you saw him make a couple of plays downfield. That touchdown was pretty awesome. I mean, we haven't had a guy be able to go get it like that. He can catch it over the shoulder like that in a while, so good to have him back.
On your offensive line, sort of a work in progress to begin the year, getting guys. Are you feeling that rotation now? I mean, you've had some guys come in and spell some snaps, but are you happy with sort of the core group that you have there?
I am, and we were spotty early, but I mentioned this either last week or the previous week. When you add two pieces to a 5-piece puzzle right there that just got here in the summer, and Lance and Tyler are both getting better every week. Tyler missed a game because he was sick. Lance was beat up early. I didn't know if he'd be able to play in the first couple of games because his ankle was bad. He's getting better and better and better. Jack's becoming more comfortable, and then the left side with Cam and Pat got experience and been playing next to each other for 3 years. Having all 5 of them it certainly helps, and we've been getting better each and every week. Pass protection-wise, probably the best we've had since I've been here this past week. I was actually, which we're going to have to challenge them again. That's why I've mentioned that Temple leads whoever in sacks. I mean, they're top 5 in sacks. Cincinnati's up there too, but they're top 5 team in the country in sacks. So, I challenged them last week for SMU because I thought SMU pressured the quarterback well. I do. I thought they pressured the quarterback well. We were concerned about it, and we handled it really good. Did good against South Florida. I told our guys I didn't think South Florida rushed the quarterback very good. Said SMU rushes the quarterback pretty good. We responded. Well, this is another notch up. Temple rushes the quarterback as good as anybody in our conference and probably top 5 overall. So we got another challenge. They got to keep coming, right? So our run blocking needs to be there as well. We need to run the ball, and that can't involve our quarterback all the time. Now, that takes healthy running backs, which we don't have, but we need to get that going.
So that Tajon and Brandon.
See you tomorrow morning. I mean, even Stacy, I mean, he played 50 snaps in that game. He ain't capable of playing 50 snaps in a college football game. He's just not. I mean, he's a dynamic player. He flashes, you know, but he's 170 pounds, and, you know, I hope he holds up. He has. He did. He's done great the last couple of weeks. We need more. We need more people to get in there. Hopefully tomorrow morning we'll do that.
So depending on what you have, does it start where you look at Walker, Fulbright? I mean, do you go down the list in terms of who can go? And what
Keelan was in there a few times. I mean, he's good in pass protection. You know, Keelan's been around here for a long time, knows his role. He's good in protection. We're going to hand it to him. It ain't going to look like it looks like with those other guys. You know, he does a good job on special teams and, you know, thump you a little bit, but bigger backs don't flash like that.
In the secondary, depending on Chase, and I believe Abdul also went out at one point. You talked about some of the younger guys like Justice and
yeah, we're probably there. You know, I do think Jalen Emery, like flash. He's going to screw up because he's young, like he did on the first play, but he's also going to flash. I mean, he's got twitch. You know, I was happy with what he did when he was out there. He competes his butt off now. You know, Art needs to get his confidence back because he's made a bunch of plays for us. You know, Jace is a question mark. You know, Latif's a question mark. Tabo was out. He went out. So, you know, whoever's available, we need to play, you know, and so we're kind of down to what Justice and DK can do. But, you know, they fall in the young and not ready to go category, but probably going to have to see what that looks like.
If I could sneak this last one in, Dana, you're at it's confusing for us when you look at the roster, but COVID kind of messed up things where you don't know who's
they don't know either. Like if you ask like a bunch of our players what their eligibility is, they got no clue. I had that conversation with Cam and Pat the other day. I'm like, you know, like they say they're seniors because they've been here. This is their 4th year. I go, well, have you graduated yet? No. So they're not. They're not close to graduation. They thought they were seniors. They're sophomores. You know now. Like, you know, I mean, guys that have an extra year of eligibility, I mean, will they use it? That's a personal decision for a lot of guys. There's an internal clock that happens, whether it's 4 years or 5 years or 6 years. That's like, okay, I'm done. I mean, I'm ready to move on with my life here, which I totally understand that. So will they use all their eligibility? That's a individual by individual basis. I don't know what your question was, but
Yeah, I'm just curious when you look at having to now figure out who's where and how many years left.
yeah, we know it. Like on my board, I know it. They don't know it. You know, so you know that's the end of the year. We're gonna sit down with everybody that's on our roster, and you know this will happen in December. We'll sit down and we'll talk with each and every one of them as far as, you know, where they're at. You know, I'm not ready to start talking about what that looks like in December and January for 23 and Big 12 and all that, because the roster is going to have to continue to change. But we will have that conversation with each one of those guys. And it kind of plays into the, you know, the transfer portal thing too. That opens up December 5th, so guys can't get in until December 5th. Will we have guys get into the portal? Probably. I mean, everybody else is and will. You know, they made that week prior, like the championship week, you know, obviously the goal is to play for the championship. On the outside looking in. They made that week dead. And that week used to be, if you're not in the championship game, go recruit. Well, they made that week dead so you can talk to your players to figure out, you know, and one of the things that we'll talk to them about is what their eligibility is. Look, you got 2 more years or you got 1 more year yeah, but I'm graduating. I kind of want to move on. We'll have those conversations that week, prior to December 5th when the